Hi, everybody. Welcome to aidbees and welcome to our podcast session with the schools. We are back today with HLC, and we are today talking to Khushi, who's a grade 8 student and an animal lover. She has done something amazing in the last 2 years, almost 2 years, and we would like to bring it forward to you. Interestingly, as we were speaking to her just before we started recording, we got to know something which has made this interview even more special, the podcast even more special for me, because it kind of stems in with the fact of why aidbees is trying to do what it's trying to do, and that is make kindness such a big issue in our lives. As we've always said, and that's what we believe in aidbees, is that kindness spreads by example. And I think what Khushi is doing is something which is going to be an example for many of us out there who may be scared of animals on a day-to-day life, on day-to-day, sorry, my bad. So let me first introduce Khushi. As I said, Khushi is from HLC. She's grade 8 student and working with animals. Khushi, would you like to tell us something? Would you like to tell us about what you are doing with animals in the last 2 years?
Yeah, sure. Also, hi everyone, I'm Khushi. So I actually like to just hang out with stray dogs all the time, and I don't know why people just think that they're like really bad in comparison to pets, but it's really not the case because they're just dogs. If you love dogs, you can also accept stray dogs because they're the same breed, the same, except for they just live somewhere else, and you can provide a home for them. So basically, I don't understand some people their thing against stray dogs, and I just like to make that difference where people get to know more, and then their mind changes. So I really like to do that.
That's so true. I mean, an animal is an animal and a dog is a dog, no matter where it comes from. Totally agree with you. And actually, in this pandemic, one thing that I have noticed, at least in the area that I live, a lot of stray dogs got adopted. And we have this joke in our little friend circle out here that how suddenly there are no dogs on the streets, and it's not because they've been taken away, but actually they've been adopted, because I do see a lot of people walking with stray dogs in the area that I live in, and it's really nice to see them. In fact, 3 of my friends have adopted stray dogs, and it's beautiful whenever I get to meet them and play with them. But tell me, Khushi, how did you start? So let me just quickly tell the viewers what Khushi does. So Khushi has been rescuing dogs in whatever little manner she can. An initiative started by her and a few friends and volunteers in the last 2 years. She tries and provides care and care in terms of emotional care and medical care to the stray dogs wherever it's needed, and also I think tries and see if she can get them adopted. So far it's been almost 50 dogs that she has taken care of, rescued, and maybe had them placed. That's something we're going to ask her. But what is more interesting to me, of course, this is a great work that she is doing. But what was more interesting for me to discover is the fact that Khushi is allergic to dogs. And yet she has gone ahead and done something like this. So for me, I do understand allergies, not to a large extent, but even my daughter at a young age was allergic to was allergic to cats, sorry. And over the years, she's of course outgrown it. As they say, you do outgrow of certain allergies. But I do remember the time when she was actually allergic, and the kind of reactions one can get with allergies are not easy to deal with. And yet here is this 14, 15-year-old who has overcome her fear, I would say, and still gone ahead and is taking care of the dog. So that is something which I want to understand from Khushi. How did this happen? and how she is actually going on with this in spite of her shortcomings. So Khushi, tell us about this.
So the thing is, I didn't hang out with a lot of dogs before when I used to live in Delhi. Like that was basically for 12 years. And over there, there were not many strays. I don't, I recently visited there and I didn't see so many. But in contrast, over here in Chennai, there's so many more. And I didn't get to hang out with dogs a lot. My neighbors didn't have dogs. No one in our society had dogs, but my cousin did have, and some of my other family members did. So I met them much lesser than I do right now, and I think that was something that made my allergy a little, more prone. Because if I don't hang out with the allergen, then that will kind of still not do much for making it that better. So I do hang out or take care of more dogs now, and so I think like being with the allergen has made it better. So it's not as bad as it was before.
True. I mean, that is a theory which they say that if you hang out with them, I mean, the allergies, you outgrow allergies over a point of time. But it didn't scare you initially when you would get the allergy reaction?
It didn't actually scare me. I did get sick a little bit more than other kids back in the day because I always was around things that I was not supposed to. So I'm also allergic to sand and dust. So, and that was everywhere. Like storms used to come in Delhi and there was dust everywhere. And I would always inhale it because it's everywhere and there was pollution. And all that kind of resulted in this very mixed thing. Every year it happened, sneezing and got sick for a pretty long time. So that kept happening. So, yeah.
So tell us about this initiative. How did you start? What was the first, who was the first animal you rescued? How did it all begin?
So it's a very cute story. What happened was I recently had shifted to Chennai and I really didn't know much about anybody. So I had only made two friends. Can I tell their names?
We're okay with it. If they are okay with it.
Yeah, they're okay. So it's Gauri and Ishita. So they actually didn't, they weren't actually from here. They also shifted from Delhi and Maharashtra, and they came here like 1 or 2 months before me. And just Gauri comes to me one day and tells me, hey, do you want to check out this little pup who's born over here in our society? So I said, yeah, why not? And I see this pup. It's a little brown puppy, and it's still tiny. It's not pretty big and it's not very newborn. It's like a little puppy. And I see it and I'm just like, it's so cute because I hadn't seen any dogs around there. None puppies actually, some dogs there were. And I just sit down and that puppy just crawls to me and puts his little paw on my knee. And it's just that one moment that was created at that time because it was just magical. And then after that, I kept on, playing with these pups, and they turned out to be siblings also with that dog. And I named that dog Gabbar, and now she is adopted and neutered, and she's living in Delhi now. And she's very happy. And she actually grew up over here, and once she did grow up, then she was shifted.
That's such a sweet story. Love the name Gabbar. And I believe you name every stray dog that you...
I randomly name all the stray dogs. I can't stop naming things.
That's beautiful. But how has the journey been? Any hardships you've found, encountered on the way?
Yeah, there are some people who are very against stray dogs without like actually getting to know them or understand what's going on with them. And it's just very saddening to know that they're not open to the idea that stray dogs can be nice. And I would agree to some certain extent that stray dogs can be aggressive. It's not that all stray dogs are very nice and very open, but it's just not the mind block is just not letting them think for themselves. Like, and I've seen this thing that parents always tell the child that stray dogs are bad, and the child is not even allowed to venture out and see for themselves how the dog is. And some of my friends, in fact, their parents are against stray dogs, but they sneak out with me and go to play with the dogs and stuff. And one time, one of my friend's parents got them, and they apparently got a lot of scoldings. And I got really angry because I just don't understand how parents can just put that thing in their mind and not even let them see for themselves. It's just very saddening to me.
True. No, that's true. Yeah, different parents have different beliefs, and I guess that's how it is. But yeah, so you do also provide medical help if needed, right? So how does that work?
So for minor things as like cuts or some wounds, I do carry a first aid kit for myself. I have taken some courses on from YouTube and some other sources. And for the small things, I can do that. But for as you already read in the story, Riley, she needed like serious medical help, and so there is this doctor over here. Everybody knows him. All the people who have like pets, all of them know him, and he's like the best around here. So we just took Riley to him, and he kind of just put some medicine. He didn't even like explain a lot. Just put that medicine, and in like 5 or 6 days, she was okay, and that was just really nice. And he's one of the vets. There is one more vet who comes here to vaccinate, and he actually just comes here to look at the dogs as well. So that's very helpful. And some of my friends, like who are adults, do tell me about vets that are near us and are, willing to help.
That's great. And how does the finances work? I mean, who pays for the medicines and the doctor's trips and all of that?
So sometimes like the AWC, that is the Animal Welfare Committee, they sometimes fund it, but if not, if it's like a personal kind of thing, like Riley, so half, like some of it my parents did, and this other lady would wanted to really help. So she had decided that she will pay half, but then we kind of just said no, that no, you weren't really involved in it, so I don't think you should need to. And also we started, me and my friends started this little business where we made stickers and we sold it because we kind of like felt a little bad for the people who had to like pay once we found a pup and that needed help. So basically we started selling stickers, and the business is still going, and we kind of raised a lot of money.
That's fantastic. That's really nice. And do you plan to expand this business to fund more dogs, or what?
Yeah, we are kind of doing that because people over here, they don't actually listen to the whole thing. So they're just like walking around, and you just go approach them like, hello, would you like a bicycle? And so because of the cause and stuff like that, they listen to it, and some of them just start arguing. Some of them just start arguing. They're like, oh my God, why are you working for strays? They're so bad. All of them have rabies. And then I have to just sigh and just explain to them. And my friends, they just become really aggressive all of a sudden against like people like this. And then they have to call me like, please handle this, because they don't have that kind of patience and that knowledge, because most of these people who are working with me right now, they're 1 or 2 years younger. Okay. And it just dawns on me like I need to explain to them how to deal with these kind of people. I was like that once I started, so I just need to do that.
Oh, it's amazing that at this age you're talking of being patient and how to deal with this, the adults, and I mean, not something we hear very often, or often it's the other way around, how adults are always talking of kids not being patient and not listening.
Yeah, I would actually like to add to that fact, because some people over here, they become so immature. They're like, this man came up to me. We were trying to sell the stickers, and he came and he's like, what are you doing? And I started yelling, throwing his hands around and just yelling and stuff like that. And I was like, the contrast here. And they just blankly just say that they all have rabies, they're all sick, and they all have ticks. You're gonna get sick, you're gonna die. And I was just like, so what is your problem with that? If we're gonna die, we're gonna die. What is your problem? Because it's just so complicated, and they don't want to listen to it. And this is sad.
that's true. People do have a lot of negative emotions towards street dogs, animals, people, you name it. And yeah, and there is definitely need for a lot more kindness towards street people and dogs and animals. Uh, Khushi, how do you see taking this ahead? Any plans you have? Because
Yeah.
sorry,
So I'd actually like to approach a bigger group of people as well. Like age difference would also like make a better kind of an image, because you see some amount of kids playing with the dogs and you just think, have their parents not taught them anything? Are they not taking any precautions and stuff like that? And you just obviously assume, because if I would go ahead and see some children just playing around with stray dogs, I'd also probably, think of stuff that what are they doing and stuff like that, because that's what happens. And it will just make it the image better if we were to get more people in from a background or with the strays, or someone with more experience and someone who's older, so that they could be with us, so that people do get assurance that we're not just messing around with the dogs. And we would also like to make more money like with our business, so that we can do much more for the dogs, because the dogs over here, they don't have any kind of shelter right now, which by the way the AWC has just started working today. I got that message today and I was just like, okay, I can share this. And they are making rain shelters, because over here it's raining like cats and dogs.
yeah.
And there's flooding and there's waterlogging and everything, and the dogs, some of them actually were drowning the other day, and we just had to like pick them up. And yeah, so I would actually like to do all that.
So have you thought of liaisoning with any of the, I mean, you just spoke about the IWC, and I mean, I don't know how much you are working in conjunction with them, but have you thought of putting these partnerships in place? I mean, speaking to them.
Yeah, so I do want to
do animal welfare organizations.
So I am in the groups with like in the Hira groups, like where I live actually. And I am very happy to be added into those groups, because it kind of does give me a lot of information that I need to know, because in those it's written that I can't feed dogs in some places. And that is absolutely fair, because some people are scared. Like for example, the market areas, I cannot feed them there because there are so many people. It's like there's a gathering place over there. And if I do feed them, then they go around the people. And even though that is not fully accurate, that the dogs do sometimes go follow people. And it's something that people need to be open-minded to, that they will follow you and what you can do about it. Because some people like started shooing away with their hands and their legs, and sure, that's one thing that you can do. But doing that kind of invokes the dog, because they think that you're trying to attack them, and they think it's like a challenge. So it's just the behavioral thing. People need to understand that, because it's a little harder for like older generations, if I would say, because they have that kind of mind block that they have set for their future generations, that this will happen. And then they don't want to listen, because the most amount of backlash that we receive is from an older generation, because I don't think they have seen the sweeter ones, the sweeter stray dogs. What they have probably seen is the ones that with rabies, and the ones that did not have a cure back then. So we also have to just be open-minded towards them, because we need to understand what their place is, like if why they're doing that.
Yeah, it's an interaction. I think it's a lot more of awareness on both sides. I do know that, like, even in my family, I know not a lot of people are very open to pets. I mean, they're not open to pets per se, forget about street dogs or anything, but definitely they're not. And often, I think over the years, because of the treatment which is met out to the strays by people, they become violent. So, like, I know for a fact there was a time. So I grew up in Delhi as well, and I know my father used to go for walks, and there was a point. My father's not fond of dogs, but he's not like he doesn't have anything against them. He's just not fond of dogs. But in the mornings, if you would go for walks, because of the experiences I think the dogs had, they would come and, and you would get scared because they would literally be in packs. And
Yeah.
so it's, I think, conditioning on both sides. So I remember my father would invariably have to go out with a stick, not that because he wanted to use it, but he didn't have a choice because he was scared that he might get bitten. And a few people have gotten bitten. But of course, as I said, it is because of the fact that maybe those strays were treated in a certain manner, and people do treat strays in really bad manner. So it's, I think, a give and take and a dialogue which needs to be pushed a little more in awareness towards stray animals and stray. Like, I go for a walk as well over the years, and I've never had to. I love dogs. I'm an animal freak, and dogs being, and I'm not scared. So I think early on I learned in my life that they pick up. Animals pick up your energy. They realize if you're if you're scared, they will. There's that trigger. I don't know how to say it, but there is that energy which passes. And so I have never bothered, and I've never felt the need, but I still see a lot of people on the roads. They do carry something in case something happens. So a lot less now, I have to say, from where in my childhood, I have memories, but there are a lot less people carrying sticks now. But definitely there is a need, I think, to have a dialogue and open this on a larger forums where people are made aware of how to maybe even live around street dogs. What could be done and not done, and which you and your group already are doing, and that's so beautiful that at your age you've started this. But yeah, so one last thing, I think, from my side. So in your area, has there been any opposition? Because you're working with a lot of dogs, and I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, that they're all in your area, right?
Yeah, they are.
So have you had to face any kind of backlash from people living around or any such kind of things?
Yeah, so there are people who are walking their dogs, and the like our dogs, at least they try to like sniff them, or they sometimes just start barking, and then people are just so even if they just bark, people make such a huge deal. They said, "Oh my God, they bit our dog," even though nothing like that happened. They very much over exaggerate everything, and I would kind of agree with them here because the dogs sometimes do start barking, but we also need to understand their point of view because they've just seen something new. Like, oh my God, some dog that looks much more different than us. They obviously might get scared, and when people just shoo them away with sticks, they're also getting very scared because obviously someone just points a stick in your face like this, you'll obviously get a little shocked and scared. And if they then bark, then they proceed to hit them, which then like one makes that dog much more scared than it already is, and makes it do much more different things that are already been doing. It will just start being crazy, or if some person comes to it and just start barking, and then people just say that, oh my God, this dog has gone crazy, we have to put it down. And that just hurts me because you don't know what's going on in that dog's head. You haven't seen the past experiences that dog has had. Making assumptions is just wrong. And people just so the thing is, some people just take the dog and then they abandon it. There was this one person who had adopted this dog and just taken her for like at her house for a bit, and the dog was just like there for some days, and she was very happy because she was a stray, and she was very happy. And then one day she just puts the dog down, puts the dog back in her place and in her house. And us so we just like, oh my God, where'd she come from? And then we called up that person, and that person's just like, oh yeah, she already had two dogs, and obviously that wasn't gelling because you put another dog who's much younger than those dogs, so obviously there will be a little bit of fighting amongst them at first. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, these are stories. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was thinking of something to say and I completely. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, this is what I want to ask. You have you managed to adopt? Have any of the dogs that you worked with been adopted? Are you working on them getting adopted as well, right?
Yeah. So there was this one. There were two dogs actually. One dog, we very stupidly named her Auntie Dog because there was this one dog who's like, so she's the aunt to that dog, and we just named her Auntie Dog, and that just stuck on. We were supposed to change the name, but we weren't able to. So she had some kind of a tumor, and one of our like very close, like a person who helps us a lot. Her name is Vanita. She helps us a lot, and so she manages Top Dog. It's like a place where some dogs can, like pet dogs can also be just like it's a doggy resort basically. And so she's taken two dogs, one auntie dog. She had a tumor. She got her like cured, and auntie dog is now happily living over there. And Goofy. Goofy is another dog. She's black and white, and she's very beautiful. And she was a puppy when she was taken there, but now she's pretty grown up. And those two dogs, I don't think I can say adopted just as yet, but they have now recently just put up for adoption, and people are just they're about like I feel like they're gonna get adopted soon. And Riley, we're trying to get adopted as soon as possible because we don't really know where to put her because for like just while we were taking care of her, she was with us, and she was like basically away from all the dogs, and she is not willing to live there anymore. She wants to just run around everywhere, and so she went to another place where we have access to her now. But the dogs over there, Zeus and her daughters, both are very much like the evil queen and her little daughters. It's kind of like that situation, and Riley is just Cinderella, just sitting there, and she doesn't really know what to do. And there are fights all the time, and they get hurt a lot. And it's a very chaotic place, and obviously the people over there are just like getting angry about it because obviously they don't know what went through with Riley, and they don't know the situation. And it's not as if we put Riley there on purpose. She just went there and it kind of gelled together for a bit, so we just let her be there, and so she runs around everywhere.
And you're also taking care of meals of certain dogs. Is that
meals?
So?
Yeah.
Food. Yeah.
Food, yeah. Food, my father and our neighbors. So basically they do the night duty and we do the day duty. So they go feel like every day. So my mom is petrified of dogs. She is scared, but she loves them from a distance. She loves them from a distance. And my father is not scared. My neighbors aren't scared. So they go and feed the dogs at night at like outside of the main gate and stuff like that. They go feed there because where I live, it's a pretty huge place. Like there's so many buildings. There's two phases and stuff. And in phase two, our friend Juanita feeds them. And over here, like around our phase and at the backwaters, I feed them over there, and some puppies they need like a puppy dog food or like just milk and biscuits and stuff like that. So I feed them there. So it's kind of like a whole game plan where some people feed at night, some people feed in the morning, and so yeah.
And these are all volunteers who are just coming and doing it with you. Right?
Yeah.
So you put up an ad, and how did you organize all of this? Because it
didn't have to be organized actually.
No,
so the people actually do it in their own will, but it's just like it just kind of fell together in place because these people already were feeding, but then it kind of became more because some more dogs kind of were born. Like over the quarantine and the lockdown, there's a extensive reproduction that just happened. Like there's so many pups. Like you just walk out of the door, there are pups everywhere. And like there were 3 puppies born in our phase. There was actually 3 more. There were 3 more, but then one of them died sadly. But there are now, just for example, there are 11 like tiny pups like these. Like back at the phase 2. Over there are so many puppies, and we just don't know what to do because with the puppies, the mothers, we need to get them neutered, but obviously we need funds for that, and we're kind of taking it slow. We did recently just vaccinate 3 dogs and vaccinate and neuter both, and dewormed as well. So it's a very slow process kind of, and we're trying as many dogs as we can because they keep reproducing, and then there's obviously backlash that comes along. because they then we start trying to take care of the pups, and they get angry because they're like, oh my god, puppies, chaos, chaos. Another example for that, the backlash that we receive for pups, is that one time there was this one dog who gave birth to some puppies, and there were like 5 puppies, I think, and the people from that locality area over here, they just took the puppies and just throw them in the backwater to die. And it was just like, my reaction was just, have they not seen the puppies' faces? How could they even think of this? And one of my friends over here, he's a pilot, so he went to save them. He went there and he kind of like rescued like 3 puppies. Some of them had drowned, some of them he got back, and only one survived, like long term. Her name is Zeus, as the evil mother. And so this other dogs, one of them was ran over by a car, and the other one is kind of just missing. It's just like the anonymous puppy. So it is just very hard to get people to like understand that there are pups, we're going to take care of them, then they get them adopted. It's a slow process, but they just don't want to understand. Again, the understanding problem just has to, slowly become better.
It's a long road ahead. It's a long road, no matter what and how it is. I mean, as I said, I've been seeing it since my childhood. I'm hearing the same from you. But yeah, I have to say a lot has been done over the years. So it's not, people like you have come up and are doing so much, and which is so good to see and hear about. I didn't know you were doing so much. I mean, unfortunately, this blog you shared with us does not talk in depth about so much. Maybe we should just rewrite the blog.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we had an opportunity to chat, and it's really been very rich, and the kind of experiences you've shared, it's been wonderful. Anything else, Khushi, you would like to share with us before we end this blog?
All I just need to say is like, you have to keep an open mind to things. Like you have to just try to, even if you think oppositely, just think just listen to the person who's trying to get you to understand something, and then put your point of view forward, so the other person will also try to understand. So just the conversation should be like a conversation, not just a person trying to just tell the other person to just like shun the idea and stuff like that. Also, a quote that I always go by is that dogs do talk, but only to those who listen. So it just kind of just has to explain itself, and people, when they hear it, they just they go into deep thought. So yeah.
No, it's a beautiful quote, I have to say. Dogs do talk, you only have to listen. I agree with that. And with that, I'm going to end the podcast. I would just end it with the fact that, just summing up what we've heard today, a 13-year-old girl could go out unmindful of her allergies towards dogs and start working with dogs, overcoming her allergies, overcoming everything that's happening around her, overcoming all the backlashes she has gone through on a daily basis from people who do not necessarily like or appreciate her work and the dogs that she is working with. It's been 2 years, and I don't see her enthusiasm diminishing. I only see brighter spark in her. And that is so beautiful to watch. And I really hope that a lot of people get inspired by her, are able to join her movement, especially if you're in Chennai. Please do join her. They would love your support. I think more than money, I don't think she's looking for money. I haven't asked her that question, but I think she would love if people could come forward, help them, volunteer. And as she said, listen to the dogs if you're willing to, because they do talk. Thank you so much for being with us, and have a great day. Thank you so much.